Καλησπέρα σας κυρίες και κύριοι. Καλώς ήρθατε σε μία ακόμη εκπομπή Ευρώπη τώρα. Είστε στο Thrakii.net και αμέσως τώρα θα δείτε όλες τις τελευταίες εξελίξεις από το Ευρωπαϊκό Κοινοβούλιο. Μπορούμε να ξεκινήσουμε με το πρώτο μας θέμα. Στην ατζέντα του Ευρωπαϊκού Κοινοβουλίου βρέθηκε το βραβείο Ζαχάροφ, αλλά και η διάσκεψη για το κλίμα.
The winner of the 2015 Sakharov Prize for Freedom of Thought will be crowned at the Strasbourg plenary before Christmas. But what ground too can be made on fighting terrorism and tackling migration? It's time to find out. Welcome to the agenda. Kicking off the wish list, data protection. All three institutions are currently in negotiations to flesh out an agreement. Some revisions to the text are calling for an increase in fines for companies violating privacy, as well as making conditions even harder to access personal information. If accepted, MEPs will vote on the agreement on Thursday. EU leaders meet in Brussels on Thursday and Friday. What decisions can they take to tackle terrorism and fight radicalism before the end of the year? The President of the Commission, Jean-Claude Juncker, will lead the meaty debate on Wednesday morning, picking apart the Brussels meeting agenda, which includes migration and the UK's EU referendum. Could a dedicated European Coast Guard and border system help manage the migration crisis better? So what could be their role, composition and function? And what then for Frontex, the EU border management agency? Commission First Vice President Frans Timmermans will put forward new plans to MEPs on Tuesday. MEPs had called for binding targets to help save the planet from global warming. But just what was the outcome of the UN climate conference in Paris? It was billed by many as the moment that leaders needed to make count. Talks fell behind schedule over differences of the terms of the agreement. But what was decided for the years ahead? Find out by following the debate on Tuesday. And now for some news in brief. An EU report chides Turkey for its human rights abuse. But how far can the EU push a country so important in helping to carry the burden of the refugee crisis? MEPs debate the report on Wednesday. Negotiations between the institutions are set to carry on for a few years yet. But can there be an agreement on an EU-wide energy union that looks to create better integration and self-dependency? MEPs debate on Monday. Publicly flogged and serving a 10-year jail sentence. But could the torment for the Saudi blogger Raif Badawi be finally coming to an end? He's been languishing in jail since 2012, but reports suggest his case is now under review. Badawi has been awarded countless awards for his courage, and the European Parliament too has awarded him the 2015 Sakharov Prize for Freedom of Thought. His wife will receive the award on his behalf at a ceremony on Wednesday. And that's all we have this agenda. Take care and enjoy the week.
Οι ευρωβουλευτές ζητούν ένα σύστημα φακέλου στοιχείων επιβατών, το οποίο θα συμβάλλει στην καταπολέμηση του οργανωμένου εγκλήματος αλλά και της τρομοκρατίας.
It all started in 2011 when the European Commission drafted a proposal to establish an EU-wide passenger name record, or PNR. The record aims to allow member states' authorities to access airline personal information on passengers travelling outside the EU. The information would be used for the purposes of prevention, detection, investigation and prosecution.
PNR is an important tool in the fight against trafficking, organised crime and terrorism. It is not a silver bullet, nor have I agreed it in response to one specific attack, however horrific that might have been.
National authorities can store PNR data for up to 5 years. For the first 6 months, the data will be unmasked, meaning the name, contact information and address of a passenger will be visible. At first, member states wanted information to be visible for a 2-year period, but MEPs pushed to get it down to 6 months in an effort to strike a balance between privacy and security in the fight against terrorism.
Ενεργειακή Ένωση. Επενδύοντας σε ανανεώσιμες πηγές ενέργειας, απόδοση και ένα ασφαλές μέλλον.
With different energy mixes in the pot in 28 member states and as many regulations, the EU is not nearly as energy efficient as it would like to be. But its biggest problem is that it imports 53% of all the energy it consumes, mostly oil and natural gas, for a bill as high as €1 billion per day. Some countries depend on a single supplier, leaving them vulnerable to supply disruptions caused by political or commercial disputes. So, to secure its energy future, the EU has decided to set up an energy union strategy. MEPs want to ensure that the 5-point strategy meets citizens' best interests. Increasing energy security. How? By generating renewable energy here from wind, solar and even waves. Also, linking one country's grid with another, making these 28 energy markets more interconnected. And that could benefit you and me, giving us access to potentially lower energy prices. Next, energy efficiency. Every day we waste so much energy in our homes, workplaces and factories. Time to get efficient. Decarbonising our economy is another key point. But what does that actually mean? It means killing CO2 emissions altogether, forever. This, say researchers, is the only way to tackle climate change. Last but not least, investing in research, development and innovation. That means more money from the EU for groundbreaking research in low-carbon energy, linking up with the private sector. The project could jumpstart the biggest energy alliance the EU has formed since the foundation of the coal and steel community way back in 1951.
Η φοροαποφυγή αντιμετωπίζεται με ένα νέο τρόπο από το Ευρωπαϊκό Κοινοβούλιο. Ας δούμε ποιες είναι οι προτάσεις των Ευρωβουλευτών.
Pressure is building on policymakers to plug some of the loopholes, allowing multinational corporations to dodge tax. Taxation is a jealously guarded member state competence, but now, following revelations of favourable tax arrangements in many member states, MEPs want reform.
There are some very radical measures in there. If there was a common consolidated corporate tax base across Europe, that would mean the same definitions of what's taxable across Europe. Still up to member states to decide whether they want to tax those things and how much they want to tax them by, but at least the definitions would be the same.
Key targets include country-by-country reporting by multinationals of their tax details, member states reporting on changes to their special tax rulings, defining what constitutes a tax haven, and whistleblower protection.
This is not so much about the issue if there should be country-by-country reporting, if there should be dealing with the tax havens or supporting the whistleblowers activity, but the issue is how. And I guess we were able to find decent compromises.
If, as expected, MEP's initiative is supported by the full House, the Commission will be obliged to produce legislation within 3 months, or to explain why not.
Καθώς εκμηδενίζεται η αξιοπιστία της συνθήκης Σέγγεν, η Ευρωπαϊκή Επιτροπή προτείνει μια νέα υπηρεσία συνοριοφυλακής και ακτοφυλακής.
With the influx of more than 700,000 migrants into the EU in recent months, there are questions over Europe's external borders and the Schengen Agreement.
The current security risks, so tragically illustrated by the Paris attacks, make action even more urgent.
Given the urgency, the European Commission has tabled a proposal to set up a new European border and coast guard system to monitor national counterparts.
The agency will be able to deploy equipment and a standing reserve of at least 1,500 border guards from member states.
The new border guard system will replace Frontex, the agency which has come into criticism from some corners for lack of efficiency. Concerns, however, remain over member state sovereignty, a subject MEPs debated in plenary.
Comment allez-vous faire partager cette option aux différents États membres qui se plaignent de la porosité des frontières, mais refusent en même temps de travailler ensemble?
If a country is both failing to control its borders and refusing to ask for help, then we should offer them a choice. Take the help, or the rest of the EU will be within its rights to take action.
The proposals will be further debated in the committees from early 2016.
Η Ενσάφ Χαϊντάρ, σύζυγος του φετινού νικητή του βραβείου Ζαχάροφ Ραΐφ Μπαντάουι, μιλά στο Europal TV για την ελευθερία της σκέψης.
This year's laureate for the Sakharov Prize for Freedom of Thought won't be collecting the prize in person. Instead, Raif Badawi, a blogger from Saudi Arabia, is reportedly in solitary confinement and on hunger strike. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison and 1,000 lashes for breaching Saudi technology laws and insulting Islam. He received the first 50 lashes earlier this year. His wife, Ensaf Haidar, who moved to Canada with their 3 children, will collect the prize on his behalf. She spoke to Europol TV before the ceremony at Parliament's plenary session in Strasbourg. Ensaf Haidar, many thanks indeed for joining us. Could I ask you first of all to set the scene for us? Could you describe for people who don't know your husband what sort of person he is and what sort of person you think he's become?
أكيد إنسان بعيد عن أولاده، صار له 4 سنين مسجون في سجن في السعودية. الوضع عنده جدا صعب، تحكم أحكام كلها كانت قاسية، وضعه النفسي جدا سيء، تعرض ل50 جلدة في مكان عام في أمام مسجد بعد صلاة الظهر. لحد الآن لا زال وضعه مش معروف، مش مفهوم، مش مفهوم مصيره. فأكيد وضعه جدا سيء، صحته جدا سيئة، نفسيته جدا سيئة، وإحنا كمان نفتقده.
It appears that he's been moved into some sort of isolation unit. What is your understanding of conditions there? And there was talk also that he was on hunger strike. Is that the case?
رايف مش عامل أي شيء، مش مجرم، مش إرهابي حتى إنه يتسجن. كنت فعلا يعني حسيت إنه خلاص الحرية صارت قريبة، يعني ما فاضل غير الباسبور ويطلع عندنا على كندا. اتصدمت الأسبوع اللي فات بأنه أتنقل على سجن تاني، ولكن لا زال عندي أمل ولا زلت منتظرة يوم حرية رايف، وإن شاء الله راح تكون قريبة. يعني أنا بالنسبة لي أتمنى أنه الحكومة السعودية، أتمنى من الملك سلمان أنه يصدر العفو وأنه رايف يكون بيننا بداية السنة الجديدة.
Your husband has been awarded the 2015 Sakharov Prize. What difference do you think that has made or will make in the future?
أكيد جائزة سخروف جائزة عظيمة، وكلنا يعني أنا اعتبرت أن جائزة سخروف كانت بالنسبة لي باب الحرية الرايف. كنت متوقعة أنها هذه أول إشارة للإفراج عن رايف، أول إشارة لحرية رايف. بعدها أنا بكم أسبوع حكيت مع رايف وخبرته بالجائزة، انبسط فيها كتير، جائزة جدا عظيمة. كنت أتمنى إنه رايف هو اللي حيجي ويستلمها، كنت أتمنى إنه رايف هو اللي الآن يحكي عن الجائزة، ولكن الحرية قريبة. أتمنى إنه الجاي أفضل. بالنسبة لي أبغى أرجع للسؤال الأول بالنسبة لحكاية الإضراب. رايف فعلا كان مضرب عن الطعام، بدأ الإضراب من يوم الثلاثاء، ولكن أنا مش على اتصال مع رايف من بعد ما نقل على السجن الثاني. ولكن أتمنى إنه رايف أوقف الإضراب، لأنه رايف صحته سيئة من قبل، فبعد الإضراب أكيد راح تكون أسوأ. أتمنى إنه يكون وقف الإضراب، وأتمنى إنه صحته أحسن.
What do you think the European countries, many of whom are selling arms to Saudi Arabia, should be doing in response to the crackdown against free thinkers like your husband?
أنا بصراحة أشكر كل الدول اللي بادروا في الكلام مع الحكومة السعودية في إطلاق سراح رايف، وأتمنى منهم أنهم يبذلوا المزيد في إطلاق سراح رايف. ومثل ما قلت أتمنى أنه حرية رايف تكون قريبة، وأتمنى أنه بداية 2016 رايف يكون معنا.
And do you think that they should be taking any stronger action rather than behind-the-scenes diplomatic pressure?
أنا أتمنى منهم أنهم يطلبوا من الحكومة السعودية بشكل مباشر بإطلاق سراح رايف. أتمنى منهم أنهم يتخذوا أي خطوة ممكن أنها تؤدي إلى حرية رايف القريبة.
Just one final question. We saw over the weekend that 14 women were elected to local councils in Saudi Arabia, the first time this has ever happened. When you see developments like that, does that give you any optimism at all?
أنا أبارك للسيدات في السعودية أنهم وصلوا لانتخابات البلدية، وأتمنى للمرأة السعودية أنها تكون عضو فعال مثلها مثل الرجل في كل شيء. أتمنى لهم كل الازدهار.
Στο σημείο αυτό θα κάνουμε ένα σύντομο διαφημιστικό διάλειμμα. Μείνετε στο Θράκη.net. Επιστρέφουμε σε πολύ λίγο με το δεύτερο μέρος της εκπομπής Ευρώπη τώρα.